Hello, um, this is another true crime bedtime story. It's about a lady and whatnot. Anyway, uh, I have wine, I have macaroni and cheese, and I'm doing lovely. Enjoy. Racheal Barber, the popular 15-year-old who was murdered by her jealous boyfriend. In 1999, Racheal Barber was a teenage dancer on her way to stardom. The 15-year-old was a full-time student at the Dance Factory in Melbourne, Australia. She was beautiful, athletic, and popular. The Barber family's babysitter was so jealous of her success that she murdered her. Caroline Reed Robertson was 19 years old, and according to her, Barber was everything that she wasn't. She once wrote in her journal that Barber was strikingly attractive, with very clear, pale skin and hypnotic green eyes. Meanwhile, she described herself as a pizza face, with brown, oily hair and no coordination. During her time babysitting for the family, Robertson developed an odd obsession with Barber. On February 28, 1999, she invited Barber to come to her apartment the next day to participate in a psychological study. There, Robertson killed her, and she later buried her on her father's land. Perhaps the most chilling of all, however, was that investigators found in Robertson's apartment after Barber's murder an application for a birth certificate in Barbara's name. Robertson was so obsessed with Barber that she had wanted to become her, and she went to the ultimate lengths to do so. The disturbing murder of Racheal Barber. On the evening of February 28, 1999, Caroline Reed Robertson called Racheal Barber to her and told her she could make $100 by participating in a psychological study, and the very next day. She told Barber to come to her apartment after her class at the Dance Factory, but she warned the 15-year-old that she couldn't tell anyone about the study or risk compromising the results. So, Barber didn't tell anyone where she was going after school on March 1st, or even that she'd spoken to the babysitter. She simply met up with Robertson, rode the tram to her apartment, and enjoyed a slice of pizza, according to Mamma Mia. Don't know what that is in reference to or anything, but okay. Robertson told Barber that they would begin the study by meditating and thinking about happy and pleasant things. As Barber closed her eyes and relaxed, Robertson wrapped the telephone cord around her neck and strangled her to death. Robertson then shoved Barber's body into a wardrobe, where it stayed for several days. Later, she wrapped the corpse in 2 rugs, stuffed it into an army bag, and hired a taxi to help her move the statue to her father's property, where she buried Barber in the family pet cemetery. Meanwhile, police were frantically searching for Racheal Barber. Her family had reported her missing after she failed to return home from school on March 1st. But since she hadn't told anyone about her conversation with Robertson, investigators weren't sure where to start. It wasn't long, however, before they were able to track down Barber's killer. How the police solved Racheal Barber's murder. In the days after murdering Barber, Caroline Reed Robertson became withdrawn. She went to work on March 2nd, but she appeared so ill that her fellow employee drove her home, according to the Herald Sun. She called out sick for work the next few days, lying low at home. At the same time, investigators were trying to trace Racheal Barber's steps on the day of her disappearance. They soon noticed the phone call from Robertson in the Barber's family phone records, and witnesses who had seen Barber on the track the night of her death and noted that she had been with a plain-looking woman. Fuck. This, I mean, Racheal Barber was very attractive, but I mean, how? I don't know. What is a plain? Okay, yeah, no. Caroline Reed Robertson was a bit of your run-of-the-mill lady. I don't know. I wouldn't say pizza face. Definitely not Racheal Barber, but I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Why do people murder? That's the question, huh? Detectives went to Robertson's apartment on March 12, 1999 and found her unconscious on her bedroom floor. She suffered from epilepsy and had experienced a seizure, likely brought on from the stress of the murder and its aftermath. In the apartment, the police also found Robertson's journal, which was filled with incriminating material. One entry read, "Drug Racheal, toxic over mouth, put body in army bags and disfigure and dump way out." Another detailed her plan to cover up the murder. Check farm, including bag. Tuesday, arrange bank loan. Moving van. Night to disguise hair. Thoroughly clean house and steam clean carpet. Alongside the journal were two applications, one for the birth certificate in Racheal Barber's name and another for $10,000 bank loan. Investigators believe that Robertson's intention was to run off and live under Barber's identity somewhere else. Instead, she admitted to her crimes on March 13th and was taken into custody to await trial for murder. The trial and imprisonment of Caroline Reed Robertson. In October 2000, Caroline Reed Robertson was sentenced to 20 years in prison for Racheal Barber's murder. Judge Frank Vincent noted Robertson's abnormal, almost obsessional interest in Barber and stated, "I find the deliberate and malevolence with which you acted extremely disturbing." The prosecutor on the case, Jeremy Rapke, cited Robertson's infatuation with Barber as the motive for the murder. It does seem likely that the motive is to be found in the accused's obsession and her jealousy of Racheal's attractiveness, popularity, and success. Robertson had never been popular, and she struggled with low self-esteem. She reportedly once painted a portrait of herself that was completely black. By trying to magically reinvent herself in Barber's image, forensic psychiatrist Justin Barry Walsh put it, Robertson perhaps thought that she could become as successful and beloved as Barber had been. Robertson was diagnosed with a personality disorder after the murder, with Judge Vincent calling her a real danger to any who may become so unfortunate to subject of her fixation. That's fixation. Sorry. She spent 15 years in prison before she was released on parole in 2015. Oh, she's out of 2015. She's out of prison. Wow. The killer never expressed remorse for her crimes. In fact, she seemingly spent the time behind bars dramatically changing her physical appearance to look more like her victim. The difference was so stark that Barber's mother noticed it immediately the first time that she saw Robinson again. "There's a Racheal likeness there," she said. The eyes. Fucking dramatic. Jesus Christ. Fuck you. After learning about the chilling murder of Racheal Barber, go inside the disturbing torture and death of British teenager Suzanne gaffer. Then discover how Christopher Wilder lured women to their deaths with the promise of a modelling contract. That was an article about the murder of Racheal Barber by allthat'sinteresting.com. Man, fuck it. Anyway, cheers.